construction of the head with this guy. The first thing I want to tell you is that there are two parts to the head that you have to understand. The movable part, which is right here, the jaw, to look at it that way. And then you have the non-movable part, but we're going to deal with the cerebral area, not the face. So I see this as a melon. Can you see the melon shape that's right in here? Okay? But it's not exactly round. All right? So the first thing we're going to do is deal with the profile. Now there's some very interesting things that you have to deal with. And that is, this melon shape isn't exactly even. Okay? There's a top here that is the highest part of the cerebral area. Okay? And then if you notice, this part here is a lot less acute than the curve that you have on that side. So that means that there's a reason why I'm telling you this, and that is because of the fact that the highest part of the head is not in the middle. It's toward the back. And this part here, if you draw a straight line down, it's going to go right to the ear canal, which is right here. So what I'm talking about, can you see this?
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is this relationship. This is the highest part. So if I put this like this, you can see that there's much more of a curve here and less one on the other side. Okay? You will find that most of you will probably not deal with the back side of the head. You just want to work on the front. But if you do that, you're going to draw a figure with no brains. And I can guarantee at least one person, when we do this, you're not going to have the back side of the head. Okay? So that's the basic reason why I'm telling you this. So if I continue this, and I create the melon shape, you see, it has kind of that configuration. Now, this does depend on race. Is that clear? For instance, the black race, this has a tendency to get much lower than, and the Oriental is just the opposite. This almost comes straight up. You don't have that much of a curve. Okay? So, this point then would be the ear, right here. See, if I take this and I bring a line from this point at approximately, now look, what I'm doing here is I'm explaining the inside. This is not how we're going to draw. Okay? If we understand the mechanics of how things work, then when I tell you, okay, this isn't quite right, you'll understand why. Okay? See, as there's quite a number of artists that do this for a trade, and that is they will, let's say someone is deceased and they don't know, the police investigation, and they don't know what the person will look like. They look at the skeleton and you can pretty much figure out how all the muscles and the look of that person is based on the skeleton. Okay? I think I've already mentioned this before, but the Oriental socket is very shallow, the eye socket. So what happens is that the eye bulges out, and so as a result you don't have a lid. Is that clear? This is just one example of how the inside structure, the bones, will affect what is going to happen on the outside. Okay, so if you understand the bones, then you won't make as many mistakes that we're used to making. Okay, from this point, there's another, you see this degree here, there's another degree of the same, it's about 15 degrees. Okay, so from here, then there is kind of a diagonal line that comes in. And at this point, we can make this a little bit more on a flatter surface so that you see this as being flat underneath, like that. Okay? Let's see if I can find other examples. Here, right underneath, the hole for the ear is. Somewhere in here. Okay? And right where this bulges, right here, which would be approximately a little less than half, right here. Okay, will give you an indication of how this is going to be split. So if I draw 3 lines here, and then I take this and I bring it up above, like that, okay? These are incrementally even. Now, does it stay like this all the time with everybody? Absolutely not. Especially this part. This is the part where your hair actually attaches to the skull. Okay, so this is where the hair begins. But this, and this are pretty much even. That means from the bottom of the chin to the bottom of the nose, from the bottom of the nose to the eyebrow, from the eyebrow to the hairline, are even. When you say the person has no forehead, it means that the hair has now come lower and starts over here, so you see a short forehead. And men especially, as we get older, we lose the hair up on top, and so that gets much higher. Okay? So these are canons. A canon is an example of what we're using to determine how the person that you're drawing is going to be different. Okay? These are not rules. They're not 100%. This is a rule that you're going to have to, but it's a rule that you have to remember. Okay, so at this point then, what's going to happen is that there's a concave area. So the nose, as you can see here, okay, right here, will then move in this direction. And then it'll end right about, I made this too flat. It'll end right about here, okay? So this then will end here, like that. The nose will continue, and you'll have what? There's cartilage that fits that in. The bone is actually cut right here. So this is an interesting point. That point, make note of it, okay? We all have it. Some of us are smoother than others. If you belong to the royalty of France, a lot of the Merovingian kings, and like Francis I had the big nose, and Henry IV had this big nose. So in France, if you wanted to feel elegant, you would feel like a king with a big hooked nose. But it starts right here. This was years ago. I mean, centuries ago.
Years ago, yeah.
Yeah. So is that clear? So this is the point where the cartilage and the bone meet. And so as a result, you will have a very definite feeling for the nose that you have to pay attention to. Okay? So this can hook up, and so we're going to make it nice and smooth. Now, all right. So why does this come at an angle? Why do you think it comes at an angle?
To the teeth.
Because the teeth are on top. Will it always happen that way? Huh? Because even more of an angle, right? If they're really forward. Or your skin come forward. Got it? So this does change. But generally speaking, we've got the mandible here, which is a very simple connection. If you notice, it connects here, okay? And it comes at an angle, as you can see, comes down, and then you'll have the jaw where the teeth begin, and this then will be on top, the teeth will be on top here, and the teeth on the bottom will be in here. These are the teeth on the top. And then this projects like that. Okay? So that's the basic gist of the profile head. Now, the eye socket, which starts right here, is like drawing eyeglasses. And so what you have is this kind of a shape. And notice that this will come down to about halfway of the opening of the nose, like that. Okay? And the jaw itself then will cover this partially, and it connects to the ear canal here, and then you'll have a curve that goes along the eye, and then you'll have to, sometimes people like myself, I'm getting a little fatter, but when I used to smile, I used to have this little dimple right here. The reason, well, you have it, right? Yeah. The reason why that's the case is because there's a hollow area in here, you see. And so as a result, when the muscles kind of move along, you'll find that you'll have a dimple, you know, depending on how light this is. Okay? So here's an interesting phenomenon here. There is, can we have that skeleton come over here for a minute?